and the Tulsa Golden Hurricane has been canceled in accordance with COVID-19 policies. Tulsa will no longer be taking part in the Husker Invitational, cutting down the Invitational to only 3 matches. Those 3 matches will include Nebraska, Kansas State, and Colgate, starting Friday at 11 a.m., with Kansas State taking on Colgate, followed by the originally scheduled match between Colgate and Nebraska at 6:30 p.m. that same day. Saturday, we'll see a matchup of old Big 12 foes as Kansas State and Nebraska match up at 4 p.m. Ticket holders will be refunded tickets and parking purchase for the Tulsa-Nebraska game at the end of the season. The Huskers match on Friday will be streamed on BTN+, while Saturdays will be live on Big Ten Network. The University of Nebraska announced its plans for face coverings at home athletic events today. The new mask mandate will run through September 30th and will affect athletic events differently according to the venues. For football games in Memorial Stadium, masks must be worn inside elevators, in the hallways of the concourse for suites, inside the indoor portions of club seating, and inside the press boxes. Masks will not be required but are strongly recommended upon entry, in the concourses, lobbies, and in the outdoor seating areas. For volleyball matches inside the Devaney Sports Complex, fans and workers will be required to wear masks. And inside the Barbara Hibner Soccer Stadium, masks are not required, but are strongly recommended for all in attendance. More details will be provided for other athletic teams and venues when their seasons begin later this fall. And for all the latest sports news and updates, keep it tuned right here to 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is the Happy Hour.
You guys going to happy hour?
Live from the Coppel Chevrolet GMC studios in the heart of Lincoln, America.
Yeah, I'll come for a couple.
Here are your hosts, Nick Sainert.
I want to know what it's like to commit a crime without having to spend time in jail.
And Enrique Alvarez Clary.
C is for chunk.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome in. Happy Thursday. This is the Happy Hour on 93.7 The Ticket, ticketfm.com. Nick Sainer, Enrique Alvarez Clary with you today. Hello, Rico.
Hello.
How's it going?
It's fantabulous. How are you?
I am just fine. Ready to get this thing rolling.
We are Caleb Tanner / Adrian Martinez days away from football.
I'm not saying anything about that because yesterday I got crap for saying that we were only 3 days away. And so I was going to stay away from putting a number on how far away we are from kickoff.
Look,
today.
The players tweeted it out, and so did the account. So I'm going with however many days they say.
All right, so we're 2 days away from Husker football returning against Illinois. We will be joined by Scott Beatty of WDWS 1400 out in Champaign, Illinois today at 2:30 to give us an insight of what it's like out there. But before we get to anything sports related, we have to do
things first.
We have to do what we always do, and we must shout out Taylor on the text line. Taylor, congratulations.
You are the winner of
nothing.
So
congratulations. Don, you were not first. Eric.
Stop. We can't mention them. You said not to.
I did.
We can't give them the airtime that they want.
Eric is correct on the text line, 402-464-5685. Honda of Lincoln hotline, Sutter Heyman text line. Both those are open for you guys. Eric, it's hot. I agree.
I like it.
Rico, I don't know if you saw this or if you heard me tell the other guys here at the station.
Probably not. I wasn't listening to any of you.
So the Alliance happened yesterday or 2 days ago, and we all know the Alliance deal. No contract, nothing binding them legally, right? It was a handshake between gentlemen.
It was a gentleman's agreement. They looked each other in the eyes and they knew.
And that was good enough.
I can trust you.
Yesterday, it was announced that LSU from the SEC conference and USC from the Pac-12 conference, which remind you, the Pac-12 is one of these groups in these alliances.
The alliance is dead.
They agreed on a game in 2024 out in Las Vegas. And so the alliance has already been broken.
The alliance is dead. Unless that was part of the contract that wasn't real. The non-contract.
I don't know. But then the Pac-12 conference just announced a couple minutes ago that they're not going to look for expansion. And so they are sticking at their number of teams.
So that means that Notre Dame is only looking at the Big Ten or the ACC.
Yes, because in the statement, it says, this decision was made following extensive internal discussion and is based on the current competitive strength and cohesiveness of our 12 universities. So Pac-12 is staying put.
We're weak. We don't want to add anybody else.
So that's a little bit of news out in the west part of the United States. Once again, 402-464-5685, Honda of Lincoln Hotline, Starter Heyman text line. Both those will be open for you all show long. Following us, just a reminder, obviously we'll have one-on-one with DP and then old school with DP and Jay. And then after, you'll have it about a 50-minute break of people here at the station. And then at 6:50-ish, our very own Connor Happer will go live and broadcast Lincoln East versus Lincoln Pius X high school football this evening. So make sure.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. If you haven't heard Happer call a game, you're missing out.
And so he is getting ready for that. All good to go. Rico, have you ever seen these umpire scorecards on Twitter?
Actually have not until yesterday. And I think it's the one that you're about to tell everyone else about.
Yes. So there was this umpire, the home plate umpire last night in the Washington Nationals versus Miami Marlins game. So I would go out on Twitter and look up umpire scorecards on Twitter because it's truly fascinating. The home plate umpire
this was a thing.
Yeah, the home plate umpire Nick Lentz was behind the plate last night in Miami's 4-3 win over Washington. And umpires, they get a lot of heck. Like, I think that's no.
They get a lot of heck?
Yeah, a lot of crap.
Okay.
They get a lot of heck.
I had never heard anybody getting a lot of heck.
They're
I've heard of people,
giving heck.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, they're getting a lot of crap sometimes. However, Nick Lenz called 126 of the 127 pitches correctly last night.
That's fantastic.
0 of the 85 balls were inside the established strike zone. It's unbelievable.
In the true zone.
Yes, he missed one call in the top of the third with 2 outs and a runner on first. Because this Twitter account, this graphic that they send out breaks it down. He missed a strike that was called a ball, and the strike is barely touching the strike zone.
In the established strike zone, it's a strike.
Yes.
So in the strike zone of the I don't know, the zone that he established as a strike zone, it's a strike.
Yeah, his outside zone accuracy, he called 85 of 85 true balls accurately. The inside zone accuracy, he was 98% on. Called 41 of the 42 true strikes correctly.
That's wild.
It's unbelievable. And this is why I like this, is because, like I said,
take that, robots.
The umpires get a lot of crap when they're, and Angel Hernandez is another level of bad. However, and he's kind of the one that you kind of think about. Joe West is also up there sometimes.
Ugh.
But basically, these umpires are very good at what they do.
I mean, you would think so. They made it to the MLB. It's also an accomplishment to make it to the show as an umpire. I don't know if people realize that. You don't just apply to go to umpire school and all of a sudden they're just like, you, MLB, let's go. You're going to be calling the Red Sox Yankees tonight. You're going to be calling Dodgers Giants. Let's do it. That's not how this works. You got to work your way up.
Speaking of the Dodgers, did you see any highlights from the Dodgers Padres game last night?
16-inning game?
Yeah.
No, I did not.
It was the longest game since the new extra inning rule took place. Fernando Tatis hit a home run that bounced off Chris Taylor's glove to tie the game in the late innings.
Tragic.
Unbelievable. So
Fernando Tatis is good.
Yeah.
I don't know if people know that, but people forget Fernando Tatis is really good at baseball.
Yes. Now over to the football side of things. Scott Frost spoke for just under 3 minutes on Thursday. Don't worry about the time, the length.
It's a big deal, guys. It's a big deal. Scott Frost didn't have anything to say. What are we going to do?
I think what I took away from it is Saturday just needs to get here. Like,
yeah,
you can tell he's anxious for Saturday. The guys are anxious for Saturday. I'm anxious for Saturday. He was asked about the vaccination rate, and
that Trev said is at 90%.
Yes, 90%, which is very good.
Great job.
And then he also talked about, he didn't really elaborate on that. There was nothing he really needed to add on that. And then he also said that they are kind of guessing on what Illinois is going to give them defensively, but then he also feels really good about his game plan going in. So, like we just mentioned, Trev did talk last night a little bit. Sticking with the vaccination rate stuff, that's super important just for the idea of being able to play a somewhat normal schedule.
Keeping your season alive and not having to get a game canceled or forfeiting a game and taking a loss on your record.
Yeah.
Just for the fact that you couldn't field a team. It's very important to get vaccinated because then you don't have to get tested.
Yeah. And put all the vaccine and COVID stuff on the back burner, I guess, and look at the remarkable job that Trev Alberts has done since he's been here. He's had to deal with the Oklahoma stuff, the backlash, the back end of that. He's had to deal with the whole investigation thing, which it's blown over now to the fan base. However, it's still on his plate.
Still being investigated. There's been no ruling.
Yes. And so
that he wasn't the investigation he wasn't told about when he took the job.
Yeah. And you can have your own opinion on that as well.
It's kind of weird, but it's fine.
So I will be the first to admit that when he was hired, I was not a big fan of the hire.
I was iffy on it. I didn't know how it was going to go. I wasn't a fan, but I didn't hate it. I was like, I guess.
Like, it just kind of felt like the safe choice, I guess.
Yeah, it seemed like they now, okay, hold on. Before I say anything, I don't know who they talked to, when they talked to, however many they talked to, but it felt like whoever they had talked to before Trev had said no, and they thought, well, we have Trev in our back pocket. I guess we'll go hire him. That was my thought at first.
Yep.
But seeing Trev in action, not really seeing him in action, but
listening to him talk, seeing, what he's done with everything that's been thrown on his plate so far in his short time as the University of Nebraska Lincoln AD. Good hire. Well, it's just
doing a great job.
It's just like the way that he handles himself and handles questions that get asked about this program, which is not necessarily in the best spot. I think that's safe to say. He just handles it with extreme professionalism, and I get that that's part of his job, but he handles it extremely well. So here's what Trev had to say last night, and here's what he's kind of done or talked about in the first month or so. First of all, South Stadium upgrades are coming, and they've been talked about a little bit. But here's the deal: is I talked about it with Schaefer for a little bit, and like a concourse at Memorial Stadium would improve the fan experience tremendously. And it's like things like that can, if you're a big, save the street guy or gal, like that's what could lean into helping save the
getting more people,
streak.
Because you get more people there. I don't know about you get more people there, but you get people there and they don't have to be worried about, am I going to be able to go to the bathroom at all? How long is the line? Do I have to walk, down 20 million flights of stairs or down 20 million stairs to get a hot dog or a pizza or a drink or something like that?
Well, it's just improving the fan experience and the ease for fans to navigate their way through Memorial Stadium. And I don't know, this is way down the road, but one thought I had was
down the road.
If
future thoughts,
if the South Stadium is upgraded or there's an addition to it, is it something that we saw with Utah and they make that an alcohol only section? Obviously it's slim chance, but it crossed my mind. I was like, hey, we saw Utah do it.
Nicholas, why are you thinking about alcohol? You're only 20.
But by the time the addition is done, I will not be 20. But no, seriously, like, is that what could they make an area designated for alcohol? And that's the way that they have that.
Would it be this is the only place you can drink alcohol, or this is the only place you can get and drink alcohol?
I think
get and drink alcohol.
I think it has to be the get and drink. Okay. If they want to start it out here sooner rather than later. Because
try it out in one section, see how it works.
Like, and you're going to listen.
You could charge more.
Yeah, you're going to be able to see how it is with Utah, and Iowa's going to start selling beer and wine there as well, and so that's an option. Following the Garth Brooks concert
beer
and all that,
and wine.
Hey, there's those people out there. Like I said,
drink wine at a football game.
You're sophisticated like that. Is wine considered a sophisticated
yes, it's still
drink?
Considered sophisticated. I would consider drinking wine. I'm not saying I would. I would consider drinking wine at a football game, but it has to be like it has to be like a white wine that's like just real fresh, like the ones that Kevin Meyer would bring in that would just make you feel like you're on a boat or you can like sit in a pool or something. I could do that.
Real quick here, 402-464-5685. We get this off the text line. Alex from Lincoln says, I'm hopeful for Trev, but we also have to remember how much hype the media and fans gave Moose for his first couple months here. However, Bill Moose did hire coaches.
Hey, Bill
So that
Moose
helped
did a
out.
great job.
Yeah, no, Bill Moose did a great job. I'm saying for
For a little bit.
how Trev inherited this program and this athletic department, I should say, he's done a really good job up to this point. He mentioned, like I said, lots of ground was made up in the vaccine department. Frost said at the beginning of fall camp that he was kind of hesitant when asked about it. Let me see.
I'm not going to say that text out loud, but consistent, Mike, you're right.
Yeah, I understand that, but we'll see what happens. Brian T says, keep it classy. Boxed wine only at the stadium.
Hell yeah.
Probably save money.
Take it out of the box, just have it in the bag, slap the bag. Let's do it.
But no, like there'd be a way that maybe if that's down the road, or they're looking at doing more concerts at Memorial Stadium, even if they're not, even if the taps aren't active or flowing,
Just have
at
them.
Nebraska athletic events, maybe they are looking at doing more concerts at Memorial Stadium. So then they're there, and they might not run out.
If you don't want to do it at football games, or you're scared of how it might look at a football game, try it at a basketball and a baseball game. I mean, it's
There
already
you go.
set up. You already got the taps set up in PBA and at Haymarket, so you can try it at those games, see how it goes. You know, trial and error. You know, run some things by some people. Maybe it gets pushed up the ladder. Maybe Nebraska football gets it. Maybe they don't.
Dave Braska asked on the text line, why don't you like Trev? I love Trev. I didn't like the hire right off the bat. And then after he got hired the day after, I went back and I'm like reading up on what he did at UNO and all the hard decisions he had to make. And obviously there was that speculation like, oh, is he going to be able to fire Scott Frost? I'm not worried about that. I'm not at all now. Like, he's made hard decisions in the past. He handles himself extremely well nowadays.
Yeah. And I'm not saying I don't like Trev now. I didn't like Trev at the time of the hire.
I didn't like the hire.
I wasn't sure, but yeah, I didn't not like.
Yes.
It's not that I didn't like Trev. Words are hard. It's that I didn't like the hiring of Trev.
But now I do.
But I'm past that. I've grown up. I've seen what he can do, and I like it.
And
I have matured.
I guess my whole thought and like the outlook on Trev and how successful he's going to be here at Nebraska was given. How do I want to say this?
Words are hard.
Was when he was talking to DP and Happer at Big Ten Media Days. And they asked him about the details. And here's what he said to Happer and them talking about coaches and what they need. This is when I found out this guy gets it. This guy gets what Nebraska coaches should be going by.
A lot of times coaches, and I'm not suggesting that this is Scott, but this is my experience over the last 12 years. Coaches think that autonomy helps them be successful. The reality is it's the opposite. It's just like our own kids. You think, you know, as a kid, you always think, well, I just wish I could do whatever you want. No, you really want boundaries.
Yeah.
You're more comfortable in the boundaries. And so the details to me are establishing those boundaries.
And so talking about how coaches need boundaries and that he doesn't really care that coaches think that they can govern themselves, basically, he's going to give Scott and his staff boundaries. And earlier in that interview, you can catch that on theticketfm.com as well if you missed that interview.
From Big Ten Media Days.
Yeah. Earlier in that interview, he talks about, you know, I'm a big details guy and that I'm only going to allow the coaches of their respective sport to worry about coaching that respective sport. I'm going to take everything else off their plate because that's my job. And we have people in the department that's their job, where Frost's job is to coach football and handle the football program. And so he's only going to allow him to work on that stuff. And so little things like that and little
Which
conversations.
is pretty fantastic.
It's just the way that he answers it. And with the saying, I love it. It's just coaches think that autonomy helps them be successful. The reality is the opposite. You really want boundaries. He gets it. And I just didn't want to overlook the job he's done, not only in the work, you know, educating the athletes on the vaccine, however you feel about it, educating them. I'm not trying to make this political. And so, and a little bit of COVID update with Illinois. Brett Bielema said earlier this week that all but 2 players on the Fighting Illini's team is vaccinated.
Damn,
So
Illinois already beating Nebraska.
we'll see what happens on Saturday. Rico, moving on here. There was an ESPN article. I want to play a little guessing game here. We have a couple minutes.
I like guessing.
Left in the segment before we get
Really good at it.
we get to Scott Beatty. So there was 2 coaches on the quote unquote hot seat
Mhm.
on this in this ESPN article, Frost and Jim Harbaugh.
Mhm.
It's the kind of the common narrative.
Yeah.
We don't in the local media, you don't feel like Scott Frost is really on the hot seat unless things take a really bad turn. So you
National
think he
media
has
thinks he's gone.
Yes. And so let me ask you this. There was one coach from the ACC
Ooh.
on the hot seat.
ACC.
Who is it?
ACC. I got to think about teams. I got to think about who might be in the hot seat. I'm gonna name teams. Hold on. I'm not guessing right now. You North Carolina, Duke, Syracuse.
Nope.
Oh, Boston
I
College.
think Dino Babers is still there.
He is. I
So
don't
he
know.
is not
I don't
on
know
the hot
how.
seat.
It's definitely not Mac. I don't even know who the coach at Duke is. Florida State, I think, is safe.
Yeah.
Miami, he's doing all right. What other? Clemson is not.
Nope. Dabo's gone, or Dabo's fine.
Um,
You have Virginia. You have Virginia Tech.
Virginia Tech.
Bronco Mendenhall's fine.
Yeah, he's fine.
can tell you
Virginia Tech is Brian Fuentes.
Justin Fuente.
Justin Fuentes, my bad. He's okay, right?
Nope. He's on the hot seat.
Oh my goodness, how?
So Justin Fuente is on the hot seat at
Why did
Virginia
they say
Tech.
Brian Fuentes. Who is that?
I don't know. And then there's 2 coaches from the Pac-12. Think hard.
Pac-12.
Yes.
Chip Kelly
Yep.
and Herm Edwards.
No.
What?
Herm Edwards was one to keep an eye on. I
How
think
is Herm not on the hot seat?
we'll see. We'll see what happens.
How is
on
that keep an eye on? His coaches are all getting put
Well,
on administrative leave.
Yeah, because maybe it was the coaches that did all the stuff. Not
He's
Herm.
supposed to be in charge of them.
Yes. All right.
Who is it?
Clay Helton at USC. Going back to
Oh.
Chip Kelly, though.
Clay Helton doesn't actually have that job.
We'll see.
Nobody at USC wanted Clay Helton. They just stuck
That's a
with
good
Clay
point.
Helton.
Going back to my good old spreadsheet of the 2017-2018 coaching carousel, Chip Kelly was hired that same year as Scott Frost and
Yes, he
Herm
was.
Edwards and stuff. His record through the first 2 years was 7-17, and through the first 3 years, he is 10-21. And he has not made a bowl game.
Scott Frost doing better than his mentor.
Yes, barely by 1 win.
Still counts.
By 1 win. Scott Frost 12-20, Chip Kelly. Oh, I guess 2 wins, 10-21.
Yeah.
And so there's that as well. Let's
That makes sense. Wet Blanket says I combined Justin Fuente and Brian Flores to get Brian Fuente.
thank
that
you,
makes
Wet
sense.
Blanket.
Thanks.
Let's so the the spread for Saturday's game, and we'll do this again tomorrow when it's updated. I believe it's 6.5 last time I looked about an hour ago.
Mhm.
Are you taking Nebraska to cover?
Yes, I told you they're winning by 14.
You're
I'm
taking-
sticking with it.
Okay, let's play this as well. First half, Nebraska by 3.5. Are they up by more than 3 at halftime?
Yes.
Put a number on it. Tomorrow we will write these down and we will see how close we got.
One singular touchdown.
So 6
Yeah.
or 7?
7.
7. Okay. Who scores first, Nebraska or Illinois?
Scott Frost said that if they win the toss, they're not deferring. They're kicking it.
Yeah, which is deferring.
Sometimes. Some teams
Think about what you're
some teams
saying.
Kick it.
No, that is it.
Some teams kick it.
You're
without
deferring the kick.
No, some teams get the deferral and they kick it. Very few.
That's exactly
I've
what
seen
it is.
before.
You defer the toss
No,
and you kick it.
No, you defer it. No, I'm saying some
This is
teams get the
unbelievable.
deferral. Like if Nebraska defers, some teams would take that and kick it.
Okay.
It doesn't make any sense, but I've
Thank you.
seen it.
I'm
I've
glad
seen it.
we're on
I'm
the
sorry
same
that I
page
had to.
there.
I'm sorry that I had to re-explain what I meant.
Oh my goodness.
Nebraska scoring first.
Okay. And then last thing is first team to score.
Well, that's what you just asked.
I'm sorry. Will the game go into overtime?
No,
That's good.
you can't win by 14 if you go into overtime.
That's a very good point. Sorry, that's just what Bovada has on
Bovada, you're garbage.
on the as the main parts for the betting odds. We'll do that tomorrow as well, but we'll actually write them down and make them official. Let's go ahead and take a break. Here in about 5 minutes, we'll get to Scott Beatty of WDWS 1400 out in Champaign, Illinois. He's the does some post-game stuff for the Illini football team, also the play-by-play broadcaster for Illinois baseball and stuff like that. So we'll get to him after the break. More up next on the Happy Hour.
Follow Nick and Enrique on Twitter at Nick_Sainert and at Radio Rico AC. More of Happy Hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Mike Schaefer here with 5-star child care provider Lee Beecher from Bubbles and Blocks. Let's start with what makes Bubbles and Blocks special.
We have 3 beautiful locations in Lincoln that provide the safety, security, and reliability you need while also bringing a family feel to each classroom at every location.
I also hear some congratulations are in order.
Thank you. Yes, we just won the Lincoln Choice Award for Best Daycare and Preschool for the 3rd year in a row.
What should people do if they want to join the Bubbles and Blocks family?
Call to set up a tour to enroll your child today, or you can visit bubblesandblocks.com to apply to join our team.
Right now, Allstate has almost as many ways to save as there are types of music. Save for being a new customer. Save more for adding DriveWise. And save even more for driving safely. Visit allstate.com or contact your local agent to get a quote. Find out how much you can save today. Allstate. Now that should be music to your ears.
Not available in every state. New customer savings based on early signing discount. DriveWise is an optional feature. Savings vary based on how you buy. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Smoothbrook, Illinois.
When everything is changing, you need a store that's a constant. A store that has the brands your family loves and the value that you need. A store where you can stock up, pick up, and drive up. A store that's close to home and feels like home. A store that puts the health and safety of you and your family above all else. And a store that's always here to help. At Kohl's, we don't know what next year will look like. We just know that we'll be here for you no matter what. Kohl's, here today, here to stay. See store or Kohls.com for details.
At Koppel, you can shop online for the most affordable crossovers, SUVs, cars, and trucks. They have new Chevrolet and GMC or used inventory, all at your fingertips. Hi, I'm Sean Callahan, and before I got my car at Koppel, I shopped online at koppelcars.com. I found a vehicle I liked, then I drove that money-saving mile to Koppel in Louisville. You should too. It was just minutes from I-80 or at koppelcars.com.
Tailgating wasn't just meant for weekends. Join 93.7 The Ticket every Tuesday at Chick-fil-A for Tailgate Tuesdays. Scan your app with any purchase on Tuesdays and you'll be entered to win a tailgate meal for 15 people. That's chicken nuggets, fresh fruit, and iced tea or lemonade. Winners will be contacted each Wednesday, and you can come see Tom and Bach from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the 48th and O location or at South Point each week. It's Tailgate Tuesdays all season long at Chick-fil-A in Lincoln. The party is back on in Lincoln this fall, and there's no party like the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show at Tipsy Tina's in the Haymarket. Join the whole Ticket crew for 2.5 hours of pregame coverage before every home and away game this football season as they get you ready for the game. It's the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show at Tipsy Tina's in the Haymarket. Sponsored by Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping, Tractor Supply Distribution Center, T.O. Haas Tire and Auto, Planet Fitness, Barnwood and Leather, and Vitalize Health. 93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Another scorcher on the way for our Thursday. We'll see a heat advisory in effect this afternoon. We'll top out near 98. It will feel closer to 105 at times. South winds at around 15. We'll see a low tonight down to around 76. We will stay rather warm tomorrow with a high of 96. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are you dragging through each day? Most people are dehydrated or deficient in essential vitamins, minerals, and more. Live Hydration Spa helps you get more out of your life with their IV hydration treatments to help with anti-aging, weight loss, endurance, and more. Their performance packages can help you feel better doing your normal daily routine with boosts of energy and vitality, an increase in immunity, and quicker athletic recovery. Call today for an appointment at 402-413-2042 or walk in at 71st and Pioneers. Live Hydration Spa.
You're listening to The Happy Hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Back here on The Happy Hour, Nick Sainert, Enrique Alvarez Clary with you. And we are joined now on the Honda of Lincoln hotline by Scott Beatty of WDWS 1400 out in Champaign, Illinois. He also handles the play-by-play for Illinois baseball and does some of the Illini game day as well. Scott, I appreciate you taking the time. How's everything going out there?
Great, guys. We're getting excited for this game, just as I'm sure everybody in Lincoln is as well.
Yeah, and I guess that's where I'll start with. What's the vibe out there in Champaign and the confidence level going into Saturday's matchup?
Confidence level is hard to gauge. I mean, obviously, if you are talking to the coaching staff or the Illini players, they're telling you they're excited and confident. Amongst the fan base, I'll tell you what, Brett Bielema, new head coach, is saying all the right things. He is doing all the right things in terms of winning people over and building excitement around this program. But they have not played it down of football yet under him. So a lot remains to be seen. So I would say the vibe is a sense of the program is probably going in the right direction, but what to expect Saturday, what to expect this year is unknown. And let's be real, it's been a while since Illinois had a winning football season. So fans are understandably a little bit, kind of just go, let's wait and see what happens here.
Yeah, Illinois in their new coach's first year, they've had some losing records, I believe, in the last 3 or 4 coaches, but especially Lovie Smith. What's the anticipation of Brett Bielema? What is the realistic expectation heading into this year? And just what's the anticipation level like surrounding this new staff? You said he's saying everything correctly and saying good things. Give us an insight into that.
Well, first off, he is won over the high school coaches in this state. Recruiting was underwhelming in the state of Illinois by the Lovie Smith coaching staff, particularly outside of the Chicago area. The Chicago area is important because it's obviously the most populous area of the state and just has a lot of talent, but there's a lot of directions that kids in the Chicago area can go. I mean, you have major programs that are within a 3-4 hour drive from their home. That said, everything downstate, south of I-80, was severely under-recruited by the previous staff. The first thing Brett Bielema did, and I mean the first thing he did upon his hire, was start reaching out to high school coaches, and he's won them over. And Illinois is making inroads in the state where they were not before. So that's huge in terms of not only actual players coming, but building goodwill and promoting your program. Second, I think he's been about as candid and forthright as you'll find in a football coach. I mean, they're all notoriously tight-lipped and cards close to the vest. That's just how football works, right? But as much as you can get out of a head coach, you will get out of a Brett Bielema. He just seems to be, the way he carries himself, he's just kind of a guy. He's just kind of a dude. And plus, he grew up in Illinois as a farm kid. I mean, those kinds of things are all just kind of playing into why they're embracing him well. That said, let's see how the first few games play out and if people are still happy with him.
Scott Beatty of WDWS 1400 in Champaign is joining us here on the Happy Hour. Now, Illinois is returning quite a few super seniors, and sometimes with a new staff, it can be difficult at times to implement a new scheme or a new game plan while still getting the guys from the previous staff to still buy into the program and what the new staff is selling to them. How has that transition gone so far?
Well, if you talk to the players and they seem genuine enough, you talk, for example, Jake Hansen, who's a super senior PhD student at this point. It seems like he's in his 6th year and he's a captain. He was going to leave. He was trying to put his foot in the NFL draft waters and was convinced to come back by this new staff. And you just listen to him talk. It doesn't seem like just lip service. They're bought in. Look, these guys, everybody loved playing for Lovie Smith. He's a good man, and he was really good at taking care of players, but he didn't win. And I think at some point the players realized the wins weren't here. Something's got to change because, as the adage is, if nothing changes, then nothing changes. And I think Brett Bielema has won them over. I think he's put trust in them. I think he's given them voice, and he's brought in a lot of legitimate staff underneath him. These are guys that almost everyone on the defensive side of the ball could be the defensive coordinator. So you put that all together. I think they're excited about this scheme. And the real question, Nick, will be, was it just a talent disparity or was it a scheme issue as well, why Illinois was losing ball games? Because there's a lot of people that have wondered if the previous defensive scheme really could work at this level. And at least it didn't very well for Illinois.
Let's stay on that defensive side of the ball there. Is there going to be anything different than in years past, like dramatically different, I suppose, than what we've seen in years past, like scheme-wise or personnel-wise? Are they going to be lining up different? Because I know Lovey, his defense, he wasn't afraid to show what they wanted to do on defense. How's Bielema's defense different from Lovey's?
I expect it to be very different. Now, they showed us only kind of vanilla things back in spring, and since then we have not seen anything. But you can look at how things are positioning. They've shortened up the number of defensive linemen, and they added a bunch of guys, or put the label of outside linebacker onto a bunch of guys. So, for example, Isaiah Gay and Owen Carney Jr., 2 fifth-year guys. Well, they were defensive ends last year. They're now listed as outside linebackers. How exactly are they going to use them? It gives, I think, the option to do a 4-man or 5-man front, 2 stand-up guys, one guy getting down, the other one dropping back in coverage. So I think it gives this Saturday, it'll give Adrian Martinez more things to worry about, think about in terms of who's coming at us and who's dropping back. The Lovie Smith system was much more easy to interpret, and it was, I think, by design. My understanding of it was that's okay, we're still going to beat you with it, but they didn't. And there's vulnerabilities in the cover 2 system that he ran. So we're expecting a 3 down lineman front, maybe 4. Maybe they're going to be bringing 4. Maybe they're going to be bringing 5. Will it be 2 linebackers behind that? Will it be 3-3-5? Will it be 4-2-5? Not entirely sure. They have a transfer from Georgia named Prather Hudson, who is probably going to be a star. Phil Steele had him listed as a star. They've kind of talked about him as that. So is it, that kind of nickel-ish package where you put that type of player in? But beyond that, we don't have a ton of information. There's going to be a lot that will be unveiled. And frankly, against Nebraska, against a Big Ten opponent, you can't hide too much as you would against maybe an FCS opponent or what have you, when you can maybe get away with more. So we're going to learn a lot on Saturday. I think the big thing is 3 defensive linemen instead of 4.
We're talking to Scott Beatty of WDWS 1400 in Illinois and Champaign. Hey, Scott, with the amazing games that Adrian Martinez had the first 2 times he faced Illinois, and the last one that they played, he didn't start, and Illinois kind of had their way. Is there any concern with slowing down Adrian? I know you were talking about the defense and throwing new things at him.
Yeah, I think from an Illini fan's perspective, they're wondering why Luke McCaffrey couldn't stay in Lincoln. And everybody kind of walked away from last year going, well, okay, if that's what you wanted to do, that's fine, because that worked a lot better for us. I think it's absolutely a concern. I mean, the advantage that Illinois has with this game is the element of surprise. Nebraska knows nothing about what Brett Bielema is going to do. And if they want to play the guessing game, based on his history and based on Ryan Walters' history as a defensive coordinator, they can, but you don't know for sure. So advantage to Illinois in that case. But guys like Adrian Martinez concern me if I'm on the Illini side of the ball, because he can make the throws. My understanding is the wide receiving core is much improved for Nebraska. And then if you can get to him, he can avoid you with his legs. And one of the big question marks for Illinois defensively is the cornerback and safety. They have a very good cornerback in Tony Adams and a very good one, and one that's really come up in Devin Witherspoon. But there's not a lot of depth back there in either corner or the safety positions. There's a ton of transfers in the safety position. So there's a lot of testing that's going to be going on. So Illinois probably has the element of surprise on its side, and Nebraska probably has the element of a playmaker who can just create.
Not a lot of people here in Lincoln necessarily know what Nebraska's identity on offense is going to look like. Do you guys out there in Champaign kind of have a read on what Illinois' offensive identity is going to be?
No, there's a feeling that here's my answer to that question. Will it be an identity based around the strengths of the team, or will it be an identity based around Brett Bielema and offensive coordinator Tony Peterson? They have said a ton of times that they are building Illinois' offense, that they are not importing an offensive scheme that Tony Peterson had with him at Appalachian State, or Brett Bielema had when he was running Wisconsin or Arkansas, that they're going to be Illinois' own brand. But to be real, the question marks on offense lie around the wide receivers. They're just a bit of an unknown. They might have been a little bit unutilized. They have moved Isaiah Williams from the quarterback position to the wide receiving position. Now, I want to be careful in how I say this. He could be a Rondale Moore type player.
Ooh.
I'm not trying to say he is Rondale Moore,
Yep.
but I'm saying in the way that he would get utilized. Kind of a run stuff so that you get the ball in his hands one way or another. Because he can cut very well, he can make guys miss. So if you're going to run jet sweeps, if he can just beat you, and then who knows? He could even throw the trick plays in there or the options with him because he was a quarterback. So there's an element of maybe we got something here. But the real strength, the expected strength, is the running backs and the tight end. You've got Chase Brown, who's returning and had a good year last year. You had Chase Hayden, who was to play with Brett Bielema at Arkansas, so they know him. And their top pass catcher last year was Daniel Barker at tight end. And Luke Ford was always expected to be more than what he has been as a transfer from Georgia. So what will the offensive identity be? If I'm going to hedge a guess, it would be effectively gaining yards on the ground more than an aerial attack. But we could be surprised.
Scott Beatty from Champaign, Illinois is with us here to preview Nebraska, Illinois on Saturday. Scott, a couple more before we let you go here.
Sure.
Talk about Brandon Peters. What kind of quarterback? What's the expectation for the quarterback over there?
Well, Brandon Peters is a guy that came in here to run a little more pro style. He's more of a pro style guy. He can move. He's not an oak tree, but he's more of a throwing guy. And what they're asking of him this year, if you just hang around him, he's just very chill. He's kind of a quiet guy. They need him to be a very vocal leader. That's what they've emphasized throughout camp, is that they're working on that with him. But he can make most of your throws. You're not going to rank him as a top NFL draft pick in the Big Ten. But he's good at managing a game and making good throws. And if he could do that and stay healthy, which has been part of an issue for him, you just look at the record. When Illinois had him behind center, they've won. When they've had to go to backups, they haven't. So he might not be a world beater, but he's good. And he can get the job done if he can manage the game well, if he could be an effective leader. And it'll all depend, too, on how in sync he is with his offensive coordinator.
One last one here for you, Scott. I'm sure there might be some listeners or they might know people that are traveling the game. What should Husker fans know traveling out there to Champaign regarding COVID stuff, regarding, just the fan experience out there in Champaign? What should Husker fans that are traveling out there know?
Pretty straightforward. If you're in the stadium, but outside, you do not need to wear a mask. If you're indoors, you'll be expected to wear a mask. The area around here is pretty respectful to recommendations and protocols. For what it's worth, the governor of Illinois today just announced the new mask mandate effective Monday, so that won't directly apply if most Husker fans are returning before the next week starts. But I think it's just being smart and trying to be as healthy as possible. And just when you're inside the restaurants or wherever else, what other crowded spaces you might be in, just to be kind of wise and wear the mask. But you're outside, you'll be able to be mask free.
How do you see this game going, Scott? Can you give us a prediction?
You know what? If I gave you a prediction now, it would be based totally on guessing.
Yeah.
As opposed to normally we would have it. Okay, we've seen both teams play. Maybe a lesser opponents, and we kind of have an idea what they would be. And then I could give you my prediction and just be wrong because I'm not good at it. But in this case, like to say, I really have no idea. I think the hope is that this is a competitive game. I don't anticipate Illinois blowing out Nebraska. I really don't. I'm not going to be surprised if either team wins, but I think it would be a disappointment for Illinois if Nebraska wins by, let's say, a couple touchdowns or more. I think this team, knowing they beat the Huskers last year, knowing that there's new schemes, they have the element of surprise, and they've got a lot of veterans. They should be competitive. Plus, they're at home. So all that should add up to what I think should be either a close game either way for either team. Maybe Illinois pulls it away. But I think just generally speaking, the hope here for Illinois is that they're competitive. not only against Nebraska, but in conference games, because the last couple of years when Illinois would lose games, they would lose games. And you just go back to what Adrian Martinez and the Huskers did 2 years ago. They took, they were hanging tough with Iowa last year, and then Iowa just steamrolled them into the second half. And it's not just losing, it's demoralizing losses that Illinois needs to get away from. So that's really what I think the goal is. I mean, the goal for Illinois is to win the game, just like Nebraska is trying to win the game. But it's kind of the competitive spirit and the way that this game goes down, I almost think would be more important. Honestly, it seems like from the outside that the bigger pressure is on Nebraska.
Yeah.
Because I know the Huskers have kind of a light schedule except for Oklahoma in the first half of the season. And we all know, you guys know as better than I do, the microscope that Scott Frost and the program is under right now. And, I'm sure a loss to Illinois would feel like, what is going on? Whereas a loss for Illinois here to Nebraska might feel like, okay, new coaching staff, and Illinois hasn't been that successful. Let's see if they can improve. If they win, they're kind of playing with house money to start the year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank you, Scott, so much for the time. Awesome stuff there. Have a good rest of your Thursday and enjoy the game on Saturday.
Guys, I love it every time I've come to Lincoln. I hope we can connect again. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll talk down the road.
Okay.
That was Scott Beatty of WDWS 1400 in Champaign-Urbana, host of Illini Game Day, does some post-game stuff for the football team as well as the play-by-play broadcaster for Illinois baseball. I was talking to him. He loves Haymarket Park, and so he's hoping that he can have a trip to Lincoln for Husker baseball down the road. Let's take one final time out here. Illinois is pretty confident, folks. Saturday is going to be an interesting game. One final time out here on the Happy Hour. More up next.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. More of the Happy Hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Right now, Allstate has almost as many ways to save as there are types of music. Save for being a new customer. Save more for adding DriveWise. And save even more for driving safely. Visit Allstate.com or contact your local agent to get a quote. Find out how much you can save today. Allstate. Now that should be music to your ears.
Not available in every state. New customer savings based on early signing discount. DriveWise is an optional feature. Savings vary based on how you buy. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Smoothbrook, Illinois.
When everything is changing, you need a store that's a constant. A store that has the brands your family loves and the value that you need. A store where you can stock up, pick up, and drive up. A store that's close to home and feels like home. A store that puts the health and safety of you and your family above all else. And a store that's always here to help. At Kohl's, we don't know what next year will look like. We just know that we'll be here for you no matter what. Kohl's, here today, here to stay. See store or Kohls.com for details.
The party is back on in Lincoln this fall, and there's no party like the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show at Tipsy Tina's in the Haymarket. Join the whole Ticket crew for 2.5 hours of pregame coverage before every home and away game this football season as they get you ready for the game. It's the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show at Tipsy Tina's in the Haymarket. Sponsored by Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping, Tractor Supply Distribution Center, T.O. Haas Tire and Auto, Planet Fitness, Barnwood and Leather, and Vitalize Health.
Now that Ken Richards has purchased Brokers Agency, he and his professional staff will continue to provide their clients with the same excellent service under the Brokers Insurance Agency name. Brokers Insurance Agency works with more than 15 companies to help find the best policy for you to avoid any long hassles. Also, if you're looking to get into the insurance business as an independent agent, they have the formula to make that process smooth and successful. Call Ken with Brokers Insurance Agency today at 402-420-5353 or visit brokersinsuranceNE.com.
The Mercado by Certified Piedmontese Beef is Lincoln's newest full-service butcher shop, offering premium fresh-cut steaks and house-made sausages daily from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. They exclusively carry certified Piedmontese beef raised right here in Nebraska. When shopping at the Mercado, you're not only supporting local, but also enjoying the official beef of Nebraska Athletics. With prime-grade tenderness and unparalleled nutritionals, your backyard barbecue is about to get a serious upgrade. Stop into the Mercado today, located off 84th and Havelock in Lincoln.
Where will you go next? The Southeast Community College Fall 2021 Continuing Education schedule of classes is arriving in your mailbox. Take a class in leadership and professional development, like real estate license prep, business courses like accounting and financials, or building a business plan, or 19 pages of personal interest classes like dog grooming, making jewelry, or even charcuterie. The entire schedule is online at southeast.edu/continuing. SCC, your path to possible.
Are you dragging through each day? Most people are dehydrated or deficient in essential vitamins, minerals, and more. Live Hydration Spa helps you get more out of your life with their IV hydration treatments to help with anti-aging, weight loss, endurance, and more. Their performance packages can help you feel better doing your normal daily routine with boosts of energy and vitality, an increase in immunity, and quicker athletic recovery. Call today for an appointment at 402-413-2042 or walk in at 71st and Pioneers. Live Hydration Spa.
At Koppel, you can shop online for the most affordable crossovers, SUVs, cars, and trucks. They have new Chevrolet and GMC or used inventory, all at your fingertips. Hi, I'm Sean Callahan, and before I got my car at Koppel, I shopped online at koppelcars.com. I found a vehicle I liked, then I drove that money-saving mile to Koppel in Louisville. You should too. It was just minutes from I-80 or at koppelcars.com.
New owners means new lunch specials at the Fox Bar and Grill. They've just introduced tons of options on their new under $10 lunch menu. Small nachos grande, a classic cheeseburger, 4 boneless or traditional wings and fries, or a small single topping pizza for just $5 each. Try the mushroom Swiss burger or the pepper jack stack burger for just $6. And for just $7, try any of the classic steak Philly, club wrap, grilled chicken salad, or grilled southwestern salad. It's the under $10 lunch menu at the Fox Bar and Grill, just south of 14th and Pine Lake.
Now back to the happy hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Thanks again to Scott Beatty of WDWS 1400 in Champaign for joining us here in the last segment. If you missed it, really good insight from him on what we can expect from Illinois this coming Saturday. It'll be on theticketfm.com here in a couple hours, so make sure you check that out. Shout out Industry Baby, taking us into our final segment.
Shout out Industry Baby, Happer. I'm out of breath. That was a intense dance session.
Happer,
he didn't look up at all.
He made his stuff for the high school like back ends and everything today, and he took Industry Baby.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
No. Why would you take Industry Baby from me?
Yeah,
that's mine.
It's ours.
Delete it then. I don't care.
I will
delete what? Yours?
Yeah, the stupid thing. I just grabbed like the top 3 songs.
Don't
I went
touch-
to Spotify, and that was one of the top 3 songs. So I grabbed it, and it's gonna be one of my high school bumps for tonight.
No,
but it's fine. Okay, that's
I'm gonna
fine.
delete it.
Get rid of it. I don't
Industry Baby is ours.
care. It means nothing to me.
It's mine. It's
Okay.
it's my
You're
dance
telling
session.
me Lil Nas does not mean anything to you?
I literally don't care.
I can
at
tell.
all.
I can tell in your eyes. You kind of care.
I do not care.
Look at him. He's sad. He wants it. You know what? You can keep it.
You can wipe your tears. It's okay.
I'll lend it to you for the high school season.
What's wrong with these headphones? Why don't they work?
Unplug it and then plug it back in.
Oh, there we go.
I think they're
Yeah.
Rico's headphones.
They're mine. They're very touchy.
They're pretty garbage.
Yeah, they don't.
Well, I
they're
got
made,
them.
They're made for little people's
They're-
ears.
Hey, great show, guys.
Hey, thanks.
This is weird being over here.
How's that feel? You know, you're on mic 5.
I like it.
It's nice.
I like it. I
You
like
sound
being
good.
the extra weirdo guy. sitting
What are you
over
talking
here.
about? We're not weird.
No,
I am.
I'm the extra weirdo guy.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
It's my spot normally.
What are you guys going to talk about right now?
Absolutely nothing.
Well, Husker volleyball plays tomorrow. They almost had to play 2 games, but now they only have to play one.
Well, they wanted
They were
to play
originally
2
scheduled
games.
to play 2 games. Yeah.
Yes, and so they're
Tulsa's
playing
out
Shout out Tulsa for not showing up.
because COVID-19 has affected Tulsa's program.
It was Dryhorn's fault.
Don't say that.
I thought he was at Tulane.
No, you went. No, that's Kevin Cross.
Kevin Cross.
Yeah. So Dryhorn, you probably don't know about him because you were a child.
He
when
doesn't
played.
know
I do know Dryhorn. He's a lefty. He went to Colorado.
He's not a lefty, and
He went to Colorado though.
he went to Tulsa, and then he went to Colorado, and now
Oh.
he's back at Tulsa.
Yeah.
No,
After starting at Nebraska.
Nebraska.
they took him back.
Yes,
They did.
Yeah.
That's
It's his home.
rad.
He's my
Wow.
favorite basketball player of all
They
time.
love it. They love it.
He didn't play too bad at Colorado though.
No, he was
They
pretty.
played really good.
I liked
He-
him at Nebraska.
He would put up 20 plus. He put up a 20 burger.
He was
every
one
now
of the
and then.
people they were mentioning when they made the tournament. They're like, Dry Horn.
Yeah,
Could be a
because they
big-"
had that one game in the tournament where they drained a bunch of threes.
Yep.
Yep. and it was him.
It was kind of him.
he was involved.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just wanted to point out that you stole industry baby from us.
No, he can have it. I'm lending it to him. For
You
the
guys
high
can
school
do
season.
literally whatever you want. If you want to delete it, then that's fine. But here's the thing. I have to make an announcement. My open for tomorrow is done.
Oh,
the hype open.
The hype open.
Oh,
that's done.
Everybody should be extremely excited.
Yeah. I think it's on if we're grading it off the scale of what it was 3 years ago.
3 years ago was like the best.
Yeah, it's the tip of the
pinnacle.
It's the pinnacle, right?
Yeah.
So I'd say that it's like 7/10 of that, which is still pretty good.
I can deal with 7/10.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were watching the last year's
70%.
Illinois. We were watching last year's Illinois plays.
Why would you do that?
Well, I
forgot how painful they
Well,
were.
the part of the hype montage is the first seconds of the hype montage is like the thing that defined last year. The football play that defined last year.
I know which one it is.
It's the fake punt.
Yeah.
It was either the fake punt or the
backwards
pass,
pass.
The very
Yeah.
first play.
Which
we went back and forth on that. It was a tie, and the punt had a better call.
It's the fake punt.
Yeah.
When he jukes nothing.
Which is funny because Nebraska's playing Illinois on Saturday.
It works perfect.
Did you ask that Illinois guy, if they have the same punter?
We didn't. That would
We
have been
didn't.
that would have been a great question. We should have asked if they've been working on fake punts, but apparently what I gained from him is that they also don't get to see much practice.
Here's a question for you, Happer. Scott asks, why can't it be better?
Well, we don't have Mark at the moment. And if you guys listen to my show the other day when we were like going through all this, usually what happens is I get the real big ideas and then I give him,
and Mark makes it.
Basically, I give Mark the pieces and then he kind of fits the puzzle together. I had to do all of the things this year and I'm just not as good at that part.
Happer's the person that finds the dinosaur bones out in the desert and then he gives it to Mark to put it together to find out what kind of dinosaur it
Yeah,
is.
he makes the dinosaur.
Yeah.
He discovers the fossils.
Yeah, but we don't have Mark at the moment, so
Yep.
I had to be Mark.
That's right. So Happer is the new Mark.
Whoa, that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, so like I said, we're gonna move on.
Okay, bye, Happer.
Yeah, we can turn Happer off.
Go ahead.
What a great feeling. Just mute
I've
him.
never done that before. So much power.
Because normally he just walks on back there to the production
Exactly.
studio and says what he has to say. So like I said, tomorrow Husker volleyball gets things rolling. They play Colgate from the Devaney Center.
Toothpaste.
I believe free admission.
Yes, this first game is free admission. The one after you will have to pay for. This one is also being streamed on BTN Plus. The game against Kansas State will be on Big Ten Network, not Plus.
So there you have it, folks. Husker volleyball gets rolling tomorrow. Thanks again to Scott Beatty from Champaign for joining us here in the middle of the segment. Trev Albert's also doing a phenomenal job.
He's great
with that.
Shout out Trev.
One more show until Husker football gets rolling.
2 more sleeps.
DP is live from the Mercado at 3:00 with DP 101 and Old School. And then high school football tonight starts at 7:00.
Listen to Happer.
We'll lay out our final concerns for the game tomorrow. Talk to you guys then.
Adios.
Baseball's back, and it's time to celebrate, Lincoln. We're